Tyler Brooks's heart nearly stopped when he went to deliver the package. The young woman who opened the door was Victoria Westbrook, who was supposed to have died tragically in a traffic accident 6 months ago. Tyler remembered that funeral. The whole town had talked about it. The wealthy Westbrook family had lost their daughter, bidding farewell in tears. But now Tyler was seeing the truth. It was all a lie. A $15 million insurance payout, fake death certificate, planned deception. Tyler had only come to deliver a package, but now he was the keeper of a secret that could endanger his family's life. Should he tell the truth or stay silent? 22-year-old Tyler Brooks pedaled his delivery bike through the affluent Riverside Heights neighborhood of Millbrook Heights, sweat dripping despite the cool October morning. The contrast between this area and his own neighborhood was stark. Here, manicured lawns stretched like green carpets, luxury cars sat in circular driveways, and houses looked more like palaces. Tyler had been working for fast-track delivery services for 18 months, ever since he dropped out of community college. It wasn't his dream career, but dreams didn't pay for his mother's chemotherapy or help with his father's medical bills from the construction accident that left him unable to work. His delivery route today included one address that made him pause: 1247 Magnolia Drive, the Westbrook Mansion. Even 6 months after the tragedy, the name still sent chills down his spine. Everyone in town remembered that terrible March evening. Victoria Westbrook, the beautiful 23-year-old daughter of real estate mogul Harrison Westbrook, had died when her Mercedes collided with a semi-truck. The car had burst into flames, leaving little for identification beyond dental records. The funeral had been massive. Tyler had watched the news coverage from his family's small apartment, seeing the devastation as the Westbrooks stood graveside, surrounded by hundreds of mourners. The family had received $15 million in life insurance. Now, as Tyler approached the imposing iron gates, he pressed the intercom. The gates clicked open automatically. He pedaled up the long driveway, past sculpted hedges and marble fountains. The mansion was a testament to wealth. 4 stories of Georgian architecture with white columns and large bay windows. Tyler grabbed the Tiffany package addressed to Elena Westbrook and walked to the massive oak door. He was about to ring when he noticed fresh tire marks near the side of the house and a bicycle leaning against the garden shed. Strange. He pressed the doorbell. After a moment, he heard light, quick footsteps. Not the heavy gait of Margaret, the elderly housekeeper who usually answered. The door opened slowly. Tyler's world tilted. Standing before him was Victoria Westbrook. Not a ghost, not someone who looked like her. It was unmistakably Victoria. The same piercing green eyes, the same golden blonde hair, the same features that had graced newspaper pages. She wore casual clothes and looked very much alive. Tyler's mouth went dry. His hands trembled so violently he nearly dropped the package. I'm here to deliver," he stammered. Victoria's eyes widened in recognition and fear. She glanced over her shoulder, then stepped outside, pulling the door partially closed. "Who are you?" she whispered urgently. "Tyler Brooks. From Fast Track Delivery. I have a package for Elena Westbrook." Victoria's face went pale. "You can't be here. You need to leave. Now." "But you're supposed to be dead." Victoria's voice was barely audible. "Yes, I know." The weight of what he was seeing hit Tyler. Victoria Westbrook, whose funeral he'd watched on television, whose death had made headlines, whose family had received millions in insurance, was standing right in front of him, alive. "I don't understand," Tyler whispered. "Listen carefully," Victoria said, stepping closer. "You cannot tell anyone about this. No one can know you saw me." Tyler's mind raced. If Victoria was alive, the death certificate was fake. The funeral was fake. The insurance claims were fraudulent. The insurance money, Tyler breathed. $15 million. Took it, yes. Victoria's voice was hollow. "And if anyone finds out I'm alive, we'll all go to prison for insurance fraud." "But why? You had everything." Victoria glanced at the house. There were threats. People my father owed money to. People who would have hurt me to get to him. This was the only way to keep me safe. "So you've been hiding for 6 months?" "Not here. A cabin upstate. I only came back today because..." She trailed off. Before she could continue, they heard a car approaching. A black sedan was coming up the driveway. "Oh God," Victoria whispered. You have to go. Now. She grabbed the package and practically shoved Tyler toward his bike. Wait, I need to understand. No, you don't. Just forget you saw me. The black sedan was getting closer. Tyler could see two men in dark suits. Please, Victoria begged. Tyler grabbed his bike and pedaled as fast as he could. As he passed the sedan, he glimpsed the men inside. They looked dangerous. But he couldn't just forget. Victoria Westbrook was alive, and her family had committed massive insurance fraud. The question was, what was he going to do about it? The next few days were torture. Tyler couldn't concentrate at work, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about Victoria's terrified face. Every delivery in Riverside Heights made him look over his shoulder. He researched the Westbrook family online, reading every article about Victoria's death. The official report stated the accident occurred during heavy rain, causing hydroplaning. The vehicle caught fire, destroying evidence. Dental records confirmed identity, though Tyler now wondered whose teeth those were. He also discovered Harrison Westbrook's business empire wasn't stable. Articles mentioned investigations into his real estate deals, whispers of mob connections, substantial debts to dangerous people. Maybe Victoria's explanation about threats wasn't fabricated, but that didn't make the fraud less illegal. Tyler's internal conflict ate at him. He felt obligated to report what he'd seen. Insurance fraud was serious, and the Westbrooks had stolen $15 million. But Victoria seemed genuinely terrified, and exposing her could get her killed. There was also his own family. His mother's cancer treatments were ongoing, his father's medical bills mounting. If Tyler became a witness in a high-profile fraud case, the media attention and potential retaliation could destroy his family's quiet life. A week later, his supervisor Dave called him into the office. Brooks, I need to ask about a delivery you made last week. Tyler's blood ran cold. Which one? The Westbrook house. Package for Elena Westbrook. What about it? Elena Westbrook called. Said the package never arrived. But our system shows you delivered it. Tyler's mind raced. Victoria had taken it, but hadn't given it to her mother. I delivered it, Tyler said carefully. Someone signed for it. Who? Margaret says she never saw you that day. It was a young woman. Blonde. I assumed she worked there. Dave frowned. The Westbrook's daughter died 6 months ago. There are no young female relatives. I don't know who she was, but someone signed for it. Dave studied Tyler's face. The Westbrooks are important clients. If there's a problem, I need to know. There's no problem. I'm reassigning the Westbrook route to Johnson. No more deliveries there for you. Tyler nodded, but he knew his problems were just beginning. Elena was asking questions, which meant she didn't know Victoria had taken the package. Victoria was keeping secrets from her own mother. That evening, Tyler sat in his family's small kitchen. His mother Janet picked at dinner despite being exhausted from chemotherapy. His father Robert, arm still in a sling from his construction accident, sat across from him. You're quiet tonight, son, Robert observed. Tyler looked at his parents, his mother's pale face from cancer treatments, his father's permanent limp. They were good people who'd never asked for much except to provide for their family. Just tired. Long day. His mother squeezed his hand. Your father will be back to work soon. You can return to college next semester. Tyler forced a smile, but the Westbrook's secret weighed on him like a stone. Later, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Meet me at Riverside Park tomorrow at 8 p.m. Come alone. V. Tyler stared at the message, heart pounding. Victoria wanted to meet him. He typed back. How did you get this number? I have resources. Will you come? Tyler hesitated, then typed. Yes. Thank you. Don't tell anyone about this meeting. Tyler deleted the conversation. Tomorrow night, he would get answers. He just hoped he'd survive them. Riverside Park was nearly empty at 8 p.m. Tyler arrived early, choosing a bench near the pond where he could see anyone approaching. The October air was crisp, street lamps casting long shadows. Victoria appeared exactly on time, wearing a dark hooded jacket and sunglasses despite the low light. She sat beside him, maintaining distance. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I need to understand what's happening. Victoria was quiet, watching the pond. My father got involved with dangerous people. Real estate development requires certain accommodations. Permits that shouldn't be approved, regulations that need overlooking. When you're building multi-million-dollar developments, Many hands need greasing. The mob, among others. 6 months ago, my father missed a big payment. The people he owed sent a message, photos of me leaving my apartment, following my car, sitting outside my coffee shop. The message was clear: pay up or your daughter disappears. So you decided to disappear first? Victoria nodded. It was my idea. If I was officially dead, I couldn't be used as leverage. He could focus on paying back what he owed without worrying about my safety. But the insurance money was supposed to help pay the debt. 15 million barely covered half of what he owed. Tyler struggled to process this. Whose body was in the car? Victoria's hands clenched. A homeless woman who'd overdosed. Arrangements were made to place her body after the staged accident. Tyler's stomach turned. Jesus, Victoria. I know, but we were desperate. If we hadn't done something, I would have ended up truly dead. And now? Victoria shook her head. The people my father owes aren't stupid. They're getting suspicious about why he still can't pay them back in full. That's why those men were at your house. Yes, they're watching, looking for any sign something isn't right. If they figure out I'm alive. She trailed off. You can't live like this forever. I know. That's why I need your help. Tyler's blood ran cold. My help? No, I'm not getting involved. You're already involved. You've seen me. You know the truth. I could go to the police right now. Yes. And then what? My parents go to prison. The people my father owes realize I'm alive and come after me. Maybe they come after you too. Meanwhile, my father's business collapses, taking hundreds of jobs with it. Tyler hadn't considered the wider ramifications. What do you want from me? Victoria pulled out a thick envelope. I want you to deliver this. To who? Vincent Marchetti. He runs the organization my father owes. Tyler had heard that name whispered in connection with various criminal enterprises. I'm not delivering anything to the mob. It's a proposal. A way to settle the debt without money. What kind of proposal? My father has information. Records of bribes, illegal permits, city officials taking payoffs. Decades of documentation that could bring down half the city government. He's going to blackmail them? Not blackmail. Protection. In exchange for forgiving the debt, my father provides Marchetti with leverage. It's more valuable than money. And you want me to deliver this? Marchetti doesn't trust my father. He won't meet directly. But a neutral party, someone uninvolved, that might work. Tyler stood up. This is insane. I deliver packages for a living. I'll pay you. $50,000. Cash. Tyler's steps faltered. $50,000 would cover his mother's treatments for a year, pay off his father's medical bills, give their family breathing room they hadn't had in months. How do I know this isn't a trap? Because if I wanted to hurt you, you'd already be dead. The men at my house aren't protecting me. They're watching me. If they thought you were a threat, they would have eliminated you. What makes you think Marchetti will listen to me? Because you're invisible. Just a delivery boy, nobody important. Marchetti deals with lawyers and businessmen, people with agendas. You don't have any of that. I have a family to protect. I know. That's why this could work. You're not playing games. You just want to solve a problem and get paid. Tyler looked at the envelope. If I do this, and Marchetti accepts, what happens to you? I stay officially dead. But I can stop hiding. I can start living again, somewhere far from here. And if he doesn't accept? Victoria's expression darkened. Then we're all probably dead within the month. Tyler took the envelope, feeling its weight. $50,000. Cash. As soon as the meeting is over. Tyler stood up. If this goes wrong. It won't, Victoria said, unconvincing. As Tyler walked away, Victoria called softly. Tyler? Thank you. Tyler didn't respond. Life didn't give fair choices. Sometimes you just had to choose which unfair option you could live with. The next morning, Tyler called in sick. At 10 a.m., he dialed the number Victoria had given him. Yeah, a gruff voice answered. I have a delivery from the Westbrook family. Long pause. Hold on. After minutes, a different voice came on, smoother but menacing. This is Vincent. Who am I speaking with? Tyler Brooks. Fast Track Delivery Services. And you have something for me from the Westbrooks? Yes, sir. Interesting. Harrison and I aren't on speaking terms. What makes you think I want anything from him? I think you'll want to see it before deciding. Another pause. You have balls, kid. Meet me at Sergio's restaurant on 5th Street at noon. Come alone. The line went dead. Tyler spent 2 hours pacing, second-guessing. He could still back out. But he thought about his mother's medical bills, his father's inability to work, and $50,000 that could change their lives. At 11:30, Tyler headed for Sergio's restaurant. Sergio's was upscale Italian, where Tyler could never afford to eat. The maitre d' looked skeptical when Tyler walked in wearing his delivery uniform, but a large man in an expensive suit approached. "You Tyler?" Tyler nodded. "Follow me." The man led Tyler through the dining room to a private area where Vincent Marchetti sat alone. He was younger than Tyler expected, maybe 40, with silver-streaked dark hair and intelligent brown eyes. "Sit down," Marchetti said conversationally. Tyler sat, acutely aware of probably several armed men nearby. "Want something to eat? The lasagna here is excellent." Tyler's stomach was too knotted. "No thank you, sir." "Relax, kid. If I wanted to hurt you, we wouldn't be in a public restaurant." A waiter poured coffee, then disappeared. "So," Marchetti said, "you work for a delivery company, but represent the Westbrook family. That's unusual. It's complicated. Most interesting things are. What does Harrison want?" Tyler pulled out the envelope Victoria had given him. He slid it across to Marchetti, who opened it without hesitation. For 10 minutes, Marchetti read in silence. Occasionally, he'd raise eyebrows or make small sounds of interest. Finally, Marchetti looked up. "This is quite a collection. Building permits, environmental reports, voting records." Harrison's kept detailed records. "Yes, sir. Some of these could be very embarrassing for certain officials. Maybe even criminal." Tyler didn't respond. Marchetti leaned forward. "The question is, why is Harrison offering this now? What does he want?" "Forgiveness of his debt. All of it. We're talking about $32 million. Tyler's eyes widened. He hadn't realized the total was that staggering. "That's what I was told to ask for." Marchetti laughed unpleasantly. "Harrison's got nerve. He borrows money, misses payments, then tries to buy his way out with blackmail material. I don't think it's meant as blackmail. More like a business partnership." "Is that what Harrison called it?" Tyler realized he was in over his head. "I'm just the messenger, Mr. Marchetti." Marchetti studied Tyler's face. "You're nervous." "Yes, sir. But you're here anyway." "What?" Tyler considered lying, but Marchetti's direct gaze made honesty seem safer. "I need the money." "How much is Harrison paying you?" $50,000. Marchetti whistled. "That's a lot for a delivery boy. What's your story?" Against better judgment, Tyler explained about his mother's cancer, his father's accident, the medical bills drowning his family. Marchetti listened without interruption. "So you're not part of Harrison's organization. You're just a kid trying to help his family." "Yes, sir." Marchetti was quiet, apparently thinking. Then he pulled out his phone and sent a quick text. "I'm going to make you a counteroffer. But first, I need to know something. Have you met Victoria Westbrook?" Tyler's blood turned to ice. "She died in a car accident 6 months ago." Marchetti smiled with genuine amusement. "Did she? That's interesting, because one of my associates swears he saw her at the family house last week." Tyler tried, keeping his expression neutral. "I wouldn't know anything about that." "Of course not. You're just the delivery boy." Marchetti leaned forward. "But let's say, hypothetically, Victoria was still alive. Let's say her death was staged to collect insurance and keep her safe. That would be very serious, wouldn't it?" Tyler didn't answer. Insurance fraud, conspiracy, abuse of a corpse, federal charges. The kind that could put a whole family in prison. Tyler's mouth was completely dry. "But," Marchetti continued, "if such a situation existed, it might make Harrison's proposal more interesting. Evidence of insurance fraud would be even better leverage than these city documents." Tyler realized with horror where this was heading. "Here's my counteroffer. I'll forgive $25 million of Harrison's debt for these documents and his continued cooperation. And the other $7 million? That gets forgiven for proof that Victoria Westbrook is alive and the insurance payout was fraudulent." Tyler felt like he was drowning. "I don't understand." "I think you do. Deliver this message to Harrison. He has 48 hours to decide. If he takes the deal, he provides evidence of the fraud, photos, documentation, whatever proves his daughter is alive. And if he doesn't?" Marchetti's expression hardened. "Then I collect my debt in other ways. And nobody wants that." Tyler's hands shook reaching for his coffee. "What about the 50,000? You'll get paid either way. In fact, I'll double it. 100,000 if you deliver my message and Harrison accepts." 100,000. More money than his family had ever had. It would solve all their problems. But it would destroy Victoria and her family. I need time to think. You have until tomorrow night. Call the same number. Marchetti stood. It's been a pleasure, Tyler Brooks. You're in a unique position to help people make right choices. As Tyler walked to his bike, his mind spun. He held power to save his family or destroy Victoria's. He couldn't do both. That evening, Tyler called Victoria from a pay phone. How did it go? She asked immediately. Tyler explained Marchetti's counteroffer in detail. He knows, she said finally. He knows I'm alive. He suspects, but he needs proof. And he wants my family to provide it. Victoria's voice was hollow. If we give him evidence, we're not just admitting to crime. We're giving him power to destroy us whenever he wants. But if you don't, he'll collect the debt in other ways. Victoria was quiet. 100,000 is a lot of money. Tyler felt sick. Victoria, I can't be the one to. You have a family to think about. I understand. There has to be another way. Maybe there is, Victoria said slowly. Maybe we can give Marchetti what he wants without giving him power to destroy us. What do you mean? Meet me tonight. Same place. I have an idea. 2 hours later, Tyler was back at Riverside Park. Victoria arrived with a man Tyler didn't recognize, middle-aged, cheap suit, tired look of someone dealing with others' problems. Tyler, this is Detective Morrison from State Police. He's been investigating insurance fraud. Tyler's first instinct was to run, but Morrison held up a peaceful hand. Relax, son. I'm not here to arrest anyone. Yet. Victoria called me tonight. Morrison explained. She told me about the debt, the staged death, the fraud, and Marchetti's ultimatum. Detective Morrison has been trying to build a case against Marchetti's organization for years, Victoria continued. He needs evidence of their activities, and we need a way out. Morrison nodded. Here's what I'm proposing. Victoria, you turn yourself in and cooperate. In exchange, you get immunity and witness protection. And my parents? They'll face charges, but with cooperation and restitution, they're looking at minimal time, maybe 2 years each. Tyler struggled to follow. What about Marchetti? That's where you come in. You'll deliver a message accepting his deal. You'll wear a wire, and we'll record him admitting to extortion, loan sharking, conspiracy. With that plus the documents Harrison provided, we'll have enough to bring him down. Tyler felt his stomach drop. You want me to wear a wire to meet with a mob boss? We'll have backup nearby. You won't be in real danger. Easy for you to say. Victoria stepped closer. Tyler, this is the only way out that doesn't end with someone dead or in prison for decades. My family faces justice, but gets a second chance. Marchetti gets taken down, and you still get paid. The state has a witness assistance fund, Morrison added, for civilians who help with major cases. 100,000, tax-free. Tyler looked between them. A week ago, his biggest concern was making deliveries. Now he was being asked to help take down organized crime. What if something goes wrong? Then you run, Morrison said bluntly. Our team extracts you immediately. But honestly, Marchetti isn't expecting betrayal from you. You're just the delivery boy, remember? Tyler thought about his parents, his mother fighting cancer, his father struggling with injuries. He thought about Victoria hiding for 6 months. He thought about all the families Marchetti's organization had hurt. When do we do this? Morrison smiled grimly. Tomorrow night. I'll brief you on equipment tomorrow afternoon. The next day was the longest of Tyler's life. He went through deliveries on autopilot. In the afternoon, Detective Morrison met him at a safe house. The wire was tiny, a small device that attached to his chest with medical adhesive, with a microphone sewn into his jacket collar. Just act natural, Morrison coached. Deliver the message, let Marchetti talk. The more he says, the better our case. What if he wants to search me? Then you're just a nervous kid. The wire is undetectable unless they're specifically looking, and they have no reason to suspect you. That evening, Tyler called Marchetti's number. This is Tyler Brooks. I have Mr. Westbrook's response. That was fast, Marchetti replied. Same place, 7 p.m. Tyler arrived at Sergio's at 6:45, with Morrison's team positioned nearby. His heart hammered. Marchetti was already seated, looking relaxed. Tyler sat across from him, trying to control his shaking hands. So, Marchetti said, what's Harrison's answer? Tyler took a deep breath. He accepts your terms. He'll provide the evidence you requested about Victoria within 48 hours. Marchetti nodded. Smart man. He understands some debts are better paid than ignored. He wants assurance that once the debt is cleared, your business with him is finished. Of course, I'm a businessman, not a monster. Once Harrison fulfills his obligations, the documents, the evidence of fraud, and his continued cooperation, his debt is forgiven completely. Tyler was acutely aware of the wire recording every word. He needed to keep Marchetti talking. Can I ask you something? You can ask. Why do you need the insurance fraud evidence? You're already getting the city documents. Marchetti smiled. Because leverage is everything in my business, Tyler. City documents give me power over politicians. But insurance fraud? That gives me permanent control over the Westbrook family. If Harrison ever thinks about betraying me, I can destroy his entire family with one phone call to the FBI. So you're not really forgiving his debt. Oh, the monetary debt will be forgiven. But Harrison will owe me in other ways forever. Marchetti leaned back. That's how real power works. It's not about money. It's about control. Tyler felt sick, but continued. What about the other businesses you have arrangements with? Marchetti laughed. You're asking a lot of questions for a delivery boy. Just curious. You said you're a businessman. I'm trying to understand. Fair enough. Marchetti seemed to enjoy explaining. I have arrangements with about 30 businesses in this region. Real estate, construction, restaurants, government offices. They pay me for protection, financing, regulatory assistance. In return, I help them prosper. And if they stop paying, then they face consequences. Lost permits, labor problems, unfortunate accidents. Most people understand cooperation is better than conflict. Tyler's wire was capturing everything. Extortion, racketeering, conspiracy. Morrison would have more than enough for federal charges. One more question. The homeless woman whose body was used in Victoria's accident. How did you arrange that? Marchetti's expression darkened. I didn't arrange anything. That was Harrison's solution. Though I'll admit, it was more creative than expected. But you knew about it. I suspected. When someone fakes a death that convincingly, there are always questions. I chose not to ask too many because it served my interests to have Victoria disappear. Tyler felt he'd gotten what Morrison needed. He stood from the table. I should go? I'll let you know when Mr. Westbrook has the evidence ready. Marchetti stood, extending his hand. You're a smart kid, Tyler. If you ever want real employment, you come find me. Tyler shook his hand, feeling dirty. I'll keep that in mind. Walking out, Tyler saw Morrison's signal from across the street. A quick gesture meaning, we got it. 3 hours later, federal agents raided Marchetti's businesses across the city. By midnight, Marchetti and 12 members of his organization were arrested, charged with racketeering, extortion, conspiracy, loan sharking, and dozens of other crimes. The evidence from Tyler's wire, combined with the documents Harrison provided, painted a damning picture of decades of organized crime infiltrating every level of local government and business. Harrison and Elena Westbrook were also arrested, charged with insurance fraud, conspiracy, and abuse of a corpse. Their cooperation earned them reduced sentences, 18 months each in minimum security, followed by probation and community service. Victoria turned herself in and entered witness protection. Before she disappeared, she met Tyler one final time at a supervised facility. I don't know how to thank you, she said. You saved my life and helped bring down people who've hurt this community for years. I almost turned you into Marchetti for the money, Tyler admitted. I seriously considered it. But you didn't. When it mattered, you chose to do the right thing. I chose the thing I could live with. I'm not sure that makes me a hero. Victoria smiled sadly. Heroes are just ordinary people who make difficult choices. That's exactly what you are. After she left, Tyler collected his $100,000. He paid off his family's medical bills, set aside money for his mother's ongoing treatments, and saved enough to return to college the following semester. The media attention was intense for weeks. Local delivery boy brings down crime empire, read one headline. Tyler gave one interview to the local newspaper, then refused all others. He wasn't interested in fame. He just wanted normal life. But life was never quite normal again. Tyler was offered a job with the district attorney's office as an investigator after college. His unique perspective, Coming from working-class background but understanding how wealthy criminals operated made him valuable in financial crime investigations. 6 years later, Tyler had a master's degree in criminal justice and was working as a federal fraud investigator. He still rode a bike to work sometimes, though now by choice. One afternoon, he received a letter with no return address. Inside was a short note. Tyler, I'm doing well in my new life. Different name, different city, but finally free. My parents completed their sentences and are rebuilding. Dad lost his empire, but found his conscience. Mom volunteers at a domestic violence shelter. They're better people now. I think about that night at Riverside Park sometimes, when you could have taken the easy money and destroyed us. You had every reason. Your family was struggling. We were strangers. We'd committed crimes. But you didn't. You showed me that ordinary goodness still exists. That sometimes the person with the least to gain can be the one with the most integrity. Thank you for giving me a second chance. I hope you've forgiven yourself for whatever doubts you had. You did the right thing. Stay brave. V. Tyler folded the letter carefully and put it in his desk drawer, next to his old fast-track delivery services badge. He kept both as reminders that life could change in an instant, that ordinary people could face extraordinary choices, and that sometimes the hardest decisions led to the best outcomes. His phone rang. A new case, another fraud investigation. Tyler grabbed his jacket and headed out. Because he'd learned something important. The world was full of people hiding secrets, telling lies, taking advantage of others. But it was also full of people trying to do the right thing, even when it was difficult. And sometimes, being one of those people was enough to change everything.